Hey guys, Planet Everything here, and today we have the Rokinon 135 f2 lens. So this is on B&H for like $600, but I got a deal with the camera store in town, and I got it for $500. That being said, how on earth is this f2 135 lens $500? So it's not autofocus. That's the reasoning for the price, but that being said, I'm not using it for something I'd need an autofocus for. Most people aren't using a 135mm lens for something you really need autofocus for, unless it's like a sport or like, yeah, unless it's like a sport. So, obviously you got your instruction manual and, yeah, that kind of thing. It does have an EF mount, and I need it to adapt to the RF mount, so I'll just use one of my adapters that I'm using one right now. But this is the Rokinon 135F. Ooh, this is neat. I like the focus ring here. Hold on. This is really cool. Okay, so what it looks like is you get this pretty nice looking lens. It has all these numbers on it, so it can tell you the focus for feet and meters, and that's pretty neat. I'd say that's gonna be quite helpful. However, in a lot of cases you're not gonna be you're not gonna have like a measuring tape from you to the subject, but you could definitely get somewhat of a gauge by using this. Now, with that, on the bottom there's another ring here, and it's a mechanical ring. That is to control the aperture, or the f. And that ring is very helpful because, you know, you have to be able to control your aperture, but you can't do it electronically with this lens. I couldn't tell you the reasoning for that, but it's not a huge deal. One thing they don't have on this that I think Sony or is it the G series and Sony, they have added what's called like an aperture lock. So when you put your lens in your bag or whatever, and you have one of these mechanical F rings, you can click a button and it'll lock. Now that's not on this lens. Didn't really expect it to be. It's $500, and it's very sturdy feeling for a $500 lens. Like, I have had $500 lenses that felt like pieces of trash in my hand, and this thing does not. This thing is solid metal. It's pretty good, because what they downgraded on was the actual technology part of it. They downgraded on the ability for your camera to talk to it. They didn't downgrade on the actual quality of glass inside of it. And that is a huge deal for anybody who's using it for what this is meant to be used for, which is my next point. Astrophotography is the biggest reason I got this lens, because you can use this lens specifically for a lot of astrophotography situations, because 135mm is a really good spot for getting pictures of deep sky objects and things. And f2 is a bit large of an aperture to be able to get a super good focus, and you'll get like so many stars that the whole background will be practically like noise looking because it's got so many stars in it. But you can change your aperture to an f2.4 or 2.8 in this case, and that will allow you to have that control of how many stars are in your image and how sharp your focus has to be. Now, because I do use this EOS RA, my problems with focusing on stars are basically completely mitigated. I don't have any problem focusing with the stars on this camera because it has the 30 times zoom, but some of these low aperture lenses do have some vignetting on the sides here. Like you can see it with this one. This is an f1.4 lens. This is the one I video almost all my videos on. That f1.4 lens, it has some like shadows around here. Like you can see my hands pretty white right here, and then it moves over here and it's definitely getting a little more shadows. Now that's not because there isn't light shining over here. All my lights are pointed at me, but they're not losing any light over here. It's because vignetting on the lens, and that is due to such a low f. Now there's obviously digital correction that you can do to fix vignetting, but if you have an f2 for astrophotography, sometimes you should just put it up to f2.8 because it'll just keep it a lot easier, so you won't have any of this vignetting. It'll be a lot easier to get your focus, and in general you will most likely come out with a pretty similar color image, but you probably won't get as many of those background stars. Like here's this picture. I took this about a week ago with my EOS RA and this Tamron 35 f1.4 lens. Now you can see how many stars are in the back there. That's just way too wide of an aperture. So I would definitely suggest doing 2.8 if you're using this lens for astrophotography. Now some of the other uses for this lens other than astrophotography would be like taking pictures of like a flower or like a portrait shot maybe, but chances are something that's moving is really not, like this is not a video lens. I would say if I was to use this as a video lens, it would be in this situation right here that I'm using this lens in, and that is what I'm about to do. Okay, I think I'm in focus right now. Okay, this is 135 millimeters. It's completely not what this camera is supposed to be used for. However, it's a good way of showing you what it looks like. I need to change these settings. It's driving me crazy. This is how an f2 135 lens looks. So in order to make this work with your Canon camera, you will have to go to the orange page on your menu and then to page 4 and click on allow shutter without lens and enable that. Once you've done that, this lens will work fine with your camera. However, if you don't do that, it won't think there's a lens on there and it will not allow you to take a picture because it's an automatic, or it's a manual aperture lens, so you're the one who controls the aperture and the camera has no idea that there's even a lens on there. So basically that's how this works, and that's what you have to do to make this lens work. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my Tamron 35mm lens on because this is driving me insane. So that was just a quick peek of what this lens does. It really didn't show the capability of it very well, but you know, that's what this lens does. That's how you get it to work, and in order for it to be used to the fullest extent, you really want to be somewhere that you actually need a 135mm lens for, which, if you ask me, it's a pretty unique situation where you need 135mm. Like outdoor portrait shots, sometimes 135mm might work. Maybe in some cases some wildlife shots would work, and definitely a couple of cases you could get like just some nature pictures with 135mm. But other than that, I really only see me using this lens for astrophotography, which is perfectly fine because that's exactly why I bought this lens. And there's plenty of resources online for how to use it. And so that's something I really think is going to come in handy for me in this lens. I got the, there's like 2 different types of these lenses. They aren't any different. There's like one from Rokinon, and then the other one is like what's the other one is Samyang. They're the same company. They make the same lens. It's just for some reason Samyang is where the Rokinon logo is for this camera and for this lens and other lenses. But they're all made by the same person. They all do the same thing. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and also please share it with your friends because sharing is caring.